load. Load as you put it back into the trunk, carry as you carry it. One thing you have to be careful about though, it's a problem with ARMA. If you carry one of those wheels, don't hit anyone with it, because it's almost certain death for them. So you go to the wheel, look at the wheel. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Okay, and select carry. Then you'll start carrying the wheel like this. You move it to the side, to the road, to the side of the car where you want to replace it. You get a menu here that says release or raise lower. You can move it up and down, but it's basically bogus. Just release it and it drops. If you look then on the broken axle here and use the interaction key, you see a small wrench icon pop up and it says change wheel. If you release on that, it starts changing the wheel, and there you go, there's the wheel again. That's basically how it works. So he wants to test, there's a few more stuff standing here. Just try to take out the wheel and then place it next to the thing and then mount it. But as I said, be careful with the wheel, because if you hit someone with it, they will probably die, likely.
Note that the same way you can carry ammo boxes if they aren't too heavy, like for example this one.
Are they as deadly as tires?
Yeah, assume everything is deadly.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. See if I can do this.
If you release the ammo box close to the car, you can actually load it.
How far is the distance of a wheel? How far should it lay? Right beside, or is it okay if I...
That's okay, yeah. Yeah, place it next to it, I think, let's say 1 or 2 meters. I'm not sure how far exactly, but 1 or 2 meters is usually good.
Misha, want to try? I can take the wheel down.
Misha, you can try the tank. The tank has a blown... one of the tracks is defect. Let's check which one. If you get in, you see that the left track is broken. Approach the tank and press the back key. You should see the same cargo pop up.
Yeah, I see spare track.
Yeah, just unload the track. Click on it and press unload.
To fit the tire, do I just do load? I've got 2 options: carry or load.
No. If you want to change.
Alright, here it is.
There it is. Yeah. Just wait. It's
Oh,
and
gotcha.
it should already be on the right side, so you should be
Yeah.
able to interact with the tank.
Let me check. No, I don't see. Only the interactions are cargo and the touch. Or maybe
so
I
my
need to
local's
pick
not
up.
working, so I'm having to talk on radio.
Let me check if it's the...
Oh, careful, I'm carrying this thing. Yeah, I dropped it.
The fuck, I tried that it works.
I think something happened when you entered the tank. Like something changed on the look of the tank. Like it
Really?
got... Yeah. I'm not sure really what...
Well, in any case, it works the same. Just you place the track next to the track that you want to change and then use it to action.
Actually, it still shows it as broken, yeah. The left track.
Yeah.
It might be that it doesn't work with when you damage them by script.
Yeah, I tried it. It did work.
Okay.
Misha, try here with a car. I put the tire back in.
All right.
You can, by the way, you can remove tires in the same way. Just walk up to the wheel, press the action key, and then you see the wrench icon that says remove wheel. That's useful for when you have, well, let's say you have two cars with two broken wheels each, and just one spare wheel. Then you just take the wheel from one of the other broken cars and put it on the working car.
Yeah,
Careful. I'm carrying the tire.
Can you hear me on local now? Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
That's it. That is basically repairing. I think if it's broke, I don't actually know what. Wait. Warren, you know what happens when it's broken and you have to repair some other stuff?
Basically the same thing. You will have wrench icons appear on the broken parts, like on the broken engine, broken hull or something like that, and you can repair them. If the first time that you select repair on them, it will only repair them to yellow, and you need a repair vehicle present to repair them to full.
Okay, let me check. I damaged it.
Do you have a toolkit?
I think I should. No, probably not. I think only the students have them.
I don't have it.
You don't?
Back again, no.
No.
Okay, wait. I should have some here in the boxes.
Wait, I have one. Yeah, here for example, there's a repair option fuel tank.
Okay. The rear box is an armory box. You can basically get everything with it. So if there's nothing there, then you can take one from there. Alright, Warren, can you demonstrate how that works with a repair?
Yeah, you just walk up to it and you press the interaction key, and then you see a wrench icon appear on everything that you can repair. Like for example, I had hull repair and fuel tank here.
So they appear similar to the medic system, right?
Yeah, basically the same thing.
Alright, I think that covers repairing then. Let's go to refueling next. This plane...
That was a repair kit, was it, you had to get from the box?
Yeah, you
toolkit.
it's called
Toolkit.
toolkit. Usually only engineers can use it, but in this mission everyone is an engineer, so you can actually use it.
Ah, right.
Okay, let's go to the plane. The plane is out of fuel, so we need to refuel it. In standard ARMA, you would just simply drive a truck next to it and wait until it's refueled. In ACE, it's a bit more complicated. Usually you take a fuel truck like this one and drive it close to the thing that you want to refuel.
Can go back still. Okay.
Should be enough. Next thing you do is every refueling vehicle can also be interacted with. It has an interaction refuel. Then you have the options to take out the fuel nozzle, check the fuel counter, or check the remaining fuel. To start refueling something, you first take out the fuel nozzle.
will see that there's now a physical fuel nozzle in his hand. It also limits you in range. I mean, the hose is if you go too far, it's going to stop.
Yeah. Walk up to the vehicle you want to refuel, and then you have you interact with it, and you see interactions, connect fuel nozzle popping up. If you do that, you get you just click the left mouse button, and it says connecting fuel nozzle. Then the fuel nozzle is now connected, even though it looks funny. Walk back to the refuel truck, interact with it, and wait, there should be or is it on the nozzle? It might be on the nozzle. Let's check again. Yeah, on the interact with the nozzle, with the refueling nozzle. Then you can say disconnect, then you have it in your hand again, or start fueling. If you start fueling, it will start fueling. And you don't get any visual or acoustic cue. So what you can do is you go to the fuel truck and interact with it, and there you can check fuel counter. And it tells you how much liter it already put into the plane. Alternatives, of course, get into the plane and check the fuel. You should see the fuel going up then.
Yeah, it's going up, but it's slow. It takes a few minutes to refuel.
It takes a few minutes, yeah. Once you're done with refueling, you just go to the fuel nozzle again, interact with it, select stop fueling, and then disconnect fuel nozzle. Then you have it in your hand again. You bring it back to the truck and interact with the truck, put back fuel nozzle, or return fuel nozzle, and then both the truck and the plane are ready to do other stuff.
Cool.
Right, you can try it. Just take the fuel nozzle from the fuel truck and then put it into the plane.
Do you want to go, MacMan?
Does plane have does each plane have its own, how do you call it, fuel place where you need to put the nose?
No, you can put it everywhere. It's not like you need to hit some specific spot or something. Luckily.
Yeah.
So okay, it starts fueling. How do I know if the plane is full, even though I check the counter? I don't know the numbers.
I think it pops up a message once it's completely full. Or
You can also get in.
Check, yeah.
So where do I see it here? On the left side, fuel. Yeah, okay, I see the red marker, okay.
It should become green after some time.
Okay, you have to watch that you don't fuel the truck.
Yeah, that works as well, yeah.
Okay. to interact?
It should be somewhere here in the under the wing.
Yeah, got it.
Now interact with the fuel nozzle and let the fuel flow.
But it's not where it looked like it was connecting when the others were doing it.
Yeah, well, as I said, it depends on where you put it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have a real refueling nozzle or anything like that.
It's just some like hot points on it.
Yeah. So just disconnect it again.
I was just
then
going
you
to check
should-
the counter thing in it.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hey, Manuel.
Hey guys. Well,
Knowledge on how to refuel.
which one do I do? Is it connect fuel nozzle?
No, put back connect and you start refueling the truck itself.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called return fuel nozzle or something like that.
Oh, there's refuel and connect fuel nozzle.
Really? Isn't there a return fuel nozzle or something?
There's refuel, connect fuel nozzle, attach item, which has only got chem light, and cargo.
It should be in the refuel thing in the first menu. There should be a something like return fuel nozzle or something.
Yes, sorry, there is. I didn't look under that.
Ah, okay. Misha, you want to try as well?
Alright.
As I was saying, this will be important in one of Stack's missions.
I've got stuck with the logo on my screen now that shows the mouse saying connect.
Alright, and start fueling.
In the truck, you can now check how much it already refueled and then how much remains in the truck itself.
I'll get in.
I wonder what happens if you drive the truck now.
I tried.
In the plane over me.
Wouldn't be the first car on the road that still has a refueling nozzle in the gas tank.
Check the remaining fuel. Below 7,000.
Okay, it's now a bit over half full.
But I can stop it as well. We don't have to wait, right?
Say again?
We don't have to wait for it to be full. I mean, the lesson.
Yeah, well, you don't need to just detach it again and
Again, stopping. How do I attach it again?
look at the refueling nozzle and interact with it.
okay. I didn't manage to stop it at first attempt.
Ah, okay.
What was the option? Connect fuel nozzle?
No,
Yeah.
connect is for refueling. There should be a return fuel nozzle or something like that.
It's in the submenu of the first option.
Yeah, there should be a
okay.
refuel
Yeah,
submenu.
return. Yeah, it's a refuel submenu.
Okay. That was refueling. Let me take the ammo truck. Ammo, replenishing ammo is something we don't do very often, I guess.
With the fuel counter, with the fuel counter, when I checked it, it said something like 600 litres loaded. Is that just since I started, or is that cumulative?
I think it's just what you did in this current session.
Roger.
Alright, rearming is a bit simpler. You just you bring the truck close to the plane, and then you interact with the truck. You get an option rearm, and then you get a list of all vehicles that are close. And in this case, it's just the A10. Just release on the A10 icon, and then it starts rearming. And you see it's got its weapons back.
So you don't actually have to carry ammo boxes?
No, you don't. You just drive it next to it, and then that's it.
I mean, but there was this YouTube video where you saw the guys do it like that, so is that configuration or just something different?
I think it depends on the weapon. If it's a projectile weapon, let's try it with a chopper. I'm going to bring the truck there. Right, the gun is empty as well. No, just rearm and then it automatically rearms it.
Okay.
Wait, let me see, is the gun actually who's in the horn? Check if the gun has ammo.
No, it's 0.
Alright, so you have to probably really place in. Okay, let me see how that works. Okay, I have no idea how that actually works. I was just thinking that, I just thought that it works with a rearm.
Maybe take something with cargo.
It's nothing in the cargo, it's just normal stuff. I guess you can probably put something in the cargo then.
Does it have ammo, Macman?
How do you know?
there's an ammo count under the if you switch to the 20mm gun, it should have an ammo count.
How do I switch? It's the 20 millimeters and it has 500 in it. But how do I switch the weapon?
F.
Alright, okay.
So it does anyway, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, it seems pretty full.
Alright, then let's do grenades next. I think that's yeah, let's get into the truck here. Everyone in?
I'm in.
In.
Right, get up. Alright, use that arsenal box to get a few grenades. Does everyone know how arsenal works?
No idea.
Not really.
Arsenal works, you have you see on the left you see all your equipment. If you click on anything like, for example, the backpack, you can either change it, the backpack on the left side, or on the right side you get possible stuff that you can load in it. If you go to the tab with the grenade icon, you can just simply add a few grenades.
And then what? Push import or what?
No, there's on the right side you get a plus sign.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, you just press for every time you press plus, you get a grenade.
Yeah, and then you just click close, don't need to get out of it.
Alright, okay, I got it.
Okay, there's also a normal box with the stuff. Okay, to switch grenades, you press Ctrl G. On the top right, you should then see the grenades being switched. For example, smoke grenade, green smoke, green light, and M67. M67 is the actual grenade. For Ace, you toss a grenade by pressing Shift G. Then you get the grenade in front of you, and you have a trajectory marked in form of several white dots. You also get the possibility to you have a small menu that says left click to throw, right click to cancel, and the middle mouse button, if you scroll, you change the mode of throw. I get to that soon. And with the middle click, you cook. That means you pre-cook the grenade. You remove the pin, and it will explode in a few seconds. So it's basically to shorten the fuse after throwing. The dots, the last dot is green. That's the impact point. So if you, for example, see this thing with the building with a window in front, you see that if you place the dots inside the window and you press fire button, throw the grenade, and I threw it too short. You get
Oh, I understood. Get back, not get down.
yeah, sorry about that.
Well,
The problem I see is that the green dot disappears when you get to a certain point, so by
Yeah.
the time I get to the wall, it's kind of not visible.
Yeah. The thing is, the grenades are pretty dangerous in Ace, more dangerous than the normal ones. So, yeah. Get down. Alright, I guess we can start with the medic course
Right,
now.
frag out.
so this is a realistic range of a grenade. I don't want to say doing damage, but doing damage.
It is actually.
So what is damaging me?
The shrapnel.
Okay.
Frag out. Yeah, it's pretty hard to judge to get them in the windows because you can't see the green dots, so you're kind of just
Yeah,
guessing.
it's sometimes a bit difficult. It works better if you are closer to the house, but I really don't want to.
There you go, Kobe.
Yeah, that was a good throw. You can also, if you press Shift G, if you have a grenade, a smoke grenade, you can simply cook it. As you see, it just starts smoking. Then you can throw it.
And what is the cooking with the grenade? I don't get this.
If you have a grenade, it has a timed fuse. So something like 3 seconds or 4 seconds and it explodes. The thing is that cooking, you basically remove the pin and the grenade, the fuse starts ticking. So if you keep it in your hand for more than 3 seconds, it goes off and kills you. The point is, usually you do that to avoid others being able to grab the grenade and throw it back.
Okay, but okay, maybe it's just because of the movies or something I watched. I'm not sure about that. Normally, you pull out the pin of the grenade, and then you have something to push. This I don't know, this
you have a
handle or
handle.
something. Yeah.
There's a handle. Yeah, if you release the handle, then the handle will fly off, and there's a small, like a firing mechanism in a pistol. Basically, it's the same. It's just a small hammer that is held back by the handle, and if you release it, then the handle flies away, and the hammer hits the firing mechanism, and then the fuse starts. It's about 3 or 4 seconds.
And when you push the handle again, it doesn't change. The
Nope.
fuse is lit and it's gonna explode anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing that you can do is if you have a grenade and you remove the pin, and it's not you didn't release the handle yet, then you can put the pin back in and disarm it with that.
Okay.
All right, on to medical.
Yeah, I think we need that.
Let's Swoboda maybe throw free grenades as well.
Oh yeah.
Swoboda, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, I got him here.
Here, this box, there are some grenades, you can just take one.
Cooking the smoke grenade is quite cool. You can have your own personal smoke screen.
Yeah. And you can be very into smoking.
Yeah.
So, do you know how it works?
Yeah, just throwing with the default key, and I think Shift plus default key gives you the options with the mouse wheels, right?
Exactly, yeah. And really get down after each throw, because ACE simulates the shrapnel. That means there's basically a whole bunch of bullets that starts flying away from the explosion.
Yeah, I think I hit myself with that.
Yeah, just look at the blood on the floor. You know how it works. Let's do a quick introduction to self-bandaging. If you press the self-interact key, you should get, among others, a menu called medical, just medical. If you if you select that, you will see head, torso, left arm, right arm, left leg, right leg. Each of these represent a body part. If it's white, then it's okay. If it's yellow, it's you have a bleeding wound on it, and if it's red, you have a bleeding wound that bleeds like a fountain. So what you do is, if you have something that is yellow or red, move the cursor there and select bandage. If you have bandages in your inventory, and if you use them, you will stop the bleeding with that. Everyone check themselves?
Yeah, seem to be good.
Maybe it's worth noting that I think you might need to use more than one bandage on one body part, right?
Yeah, exactly. As long as it's yellow, it's still bleeding. So if you have if it's still yellow after bandaging, you can before you might need a second one, or even a third one if it's red. Just make sure that once you press the self-interaction, go to medical, that everything is white, then you're okay. Another thing that happens when you're damaged like this is that you get pain. This is usually you have a white pulsing border, or the color starts separating. It depends on how you set it. Pain can usually be you can ignore it. I mean, it's not a problem per se, but of course it will impede your vision. So what you do in that case, if you go to one of your arms or the legs, I think legs work as well. You have inject morphine. With that, you can inject morphine to yourself. It doesn't need to go into a specific body part. You just need a limb, not the body or not the head. And if you have this, if you have pain, then you will be able to stop the pain with that.
What's the disadvantage of pain?
For one, the visual impediment, and I think it disturbs your weapon. It raises your weapon's weight. Yeah, so your aim is getting worse.
Okay.
And you fatigue faster.
And what is this card when you go into the torso?
Forget about that. That's for the advanced medical system. If you want to have if you have the advanced medical system, then you can make a complete diagnosis of the patient and write that down on the card so that a medic team can evacuate him and stuff like that. But that's for Milsimmers, really.
Yeah, it's also usually a medic can record on this card that he gave you morphine. If you give yourself too much morphine, even in this system, then you start you get a heightened heart rate, and that's also going to affect your aim and your stamina. But usually you can take up to 3 or 4 morphines without a problem.
Is there any consequences of taking morphine when you don't need it?
Not really, no. But as I said, the more you have, the less. Every injection of morphine makes your aim a bit worse. Well, not if you have pain. If you have pain, it will definitely help that. But at a certain level, it starts raising your heart rate, and then you start getting your aim is getting worse.
Okay, so don't abuse it.
So you are a drug addict, you want to talk about it?
Can you actually OD on morphine or epinephrine?
I think so, yeah. At least in the advanced system. I'm not sure if it works in the basic system that we are using, but in the advanced system you can, yeah.
One more thing about the grenade throwing. If you have
You're not coming.
if you have a grenade in your hand, you see that there's a change mode with a scroll wheel. If you change mode once, you're going to switch from a normal throw to a high throw. And if you do it again, or if you go down, was it go down? How do you switch to the drop mode? Okay, it's Control G again. Then you go to drop mode. If you are in drop mode, you will just drop it in front of your feet. Ouch. Like this.
Right, bandages. You have a few bandages from the beginning, but they will not last long. If you check the inventory of the truck here, there should be a few first aid kit in.
Any first aid kit that you take out of a vehicle will break down into, I think, 2 bandages and 1 morphine.
Yeah, exactly. Normal inventory, just as like you would access an ammo box or something. If you're a medic, you have a med kit that breaks down in, I think, 10 of them, and morphine and epinephrine. Epinephrine is used when someone is on the ground. If he's unconscious, you can. This is what's it called? What's the colloquial name for it?
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline, yeah. It's basically an adrenaline injection. It restarts the heart if you're in cardiac arrest or unconscious and things like that.
Don't forget about the blood bags.
Right. A medic also has blood bags. If you lose blood by bleeding, you will basically just lose blood. It's basically just a number. Your health, maybe you can see that's your health. And a medic can give you a blood infusion that will bring your health back. You will not see it, I think, until very late when it starts desaturating the colors. But usually a medic can diagnose you and can see if you lost blood. That's it, I think. What the current medic system that we're using is not very complex. The one they have an advanced one that is basically expects to spend at least 10 minutes on someone to get him up again.
Yeah, it's Social Simulator.
Yeah.
Question about our setup. Can anybody use blood bags, or does it have to be a medic? Because epinephrine and morphine, that's for everybody, right?
Yeah, those are pens. Those are these usual pens that you just put on your leg and then you press a button and...
Why?
Oh wow! What? Sorry guys, I thought it was a red smoke grenade.
I am.
Okay, I clearly
There was
need a new
some
training
red
with the grenades. I'm really sorry.
No problem. Warren, can you bring everyone to the explosives training? Warren?
I think he got fragged.
Oh god, sorry guys. The worst thing is I recorded this.
You streamed it on Twitch or what?
No, just record it,
Maybe one last thing about the medical system, which is more of an operational thing. If you're a medic or if you're treating yourself, see that you bandage your wounds first and then deal with things like morphine or giving blood infusions.
Macman is getting his punishment.
How do you do that?
I don't know, you forced me, I guess.
Yeah, I did.
1,000 push-ups.
This is so small, you know.
So this is me here, lying down. I diagnosed myself and it says I'm dead. But I still can bandage the yellow part. This doesn't make sense.
You can still give him epinephrine. Alright, get in the truck.
You can take his dog
Okay,
tag.
why is my screen flashing white even though I've bandaged everything?
Because
still
you're
in
in pain. Administer yourself some morphine.
Cool.
By the way, you probably noticed that if you interact with someone, you can also bandage another guy. If you are in a truck or in a vehicle and press the interaction key, you have a menu passengers. There you see the interaction with everyone in your vehicle. So if you are a medic, you can even during the driving or flying, you can still check others for injuries and then manage them and all that.
Okay, cool.
Next up is explosives. Okay, get up. Check some of the one of these must be explosive. Of course not. Alright, everyone take a M57 firing device and an M112 demolition block from the crate here. Come over here if you're once you're finished.
By the way, do you know what the difference between that firing device we have now is and the other one?
I think it's in the range.
The other one has a really high range, like 5 kilometers or something.
And
Oh, okay.
we'll have a few more trucks targets. Alright, everyone pick one of the cars. Are there enough? Don't get in, just get to one and alright, if you press self-interact key, you will have, notice that you have menu explosives near the bottom. Everyone sees it?
Roger.
I do, yeah. Yes.
Demolition block. Once you do that, you will have the demolition block in your hand. You can press right to cancel, you can rotate it with a mouse wheel, and you can place it with a left click. Just move towards the car and you will see that it basically aligns to the car. If you press attach then, if you press the left mouse button, it should place, it should at least place it, but it doesn't.
No, I think you need to attach if you want to place it on the car.
Okay, you can either place it below the car or just or attach it. I'm not 100% sure if I clicked attach, but it didn't work. So just place it below the car. The main important point is that you still see it. Alright, once you have dropped the thing to the ground, you can interact with it. Everyone sees his charge on the ground?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, interact with it, then you can select trigger. There's something like select trigger. If you can either set it on timer, or you can select the the firing device. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the name is. Select the firing device.
Roger.
Got a question here. It says code 1. If everybody puts down code 1, does my firing device let the others explode too?
No, it's just yours. Your personal. Every explosive that you set will be exploded with this code.
Okay.
Alright, let's get away from the cars. The firing devices have a range, so if you are not far enough, then then they will. If you're too far, you will have no way of exploding the thing. But I think the range is pretty far, like a few hundred meters. That's definitely necessary to get out of the blast radius. Alright, this should be enough. Okay, check your self-interaction explosive. You should now have an action to explode the charge that you set.
The option on code 1 is for changing the code?
No, that's exploding the thing.
Well, I didn't get to it, but alright.
Yeah, it was too close. Yeah, your explosive exploded as well. This is basically how explosives work. If you have more than one place, you get successive code 1, code 2, and an explode all action where that you can use to blow up all at once.
And what's the difference for rotating it? So what's an advantage or disadvantage for rotating the explosive?
Quite frankly, I have no idea. I wouldn't know why.
It's not only. I mean, you place the same way you place mines, for example, and with a claymore, for example, you want to have it rotated so that it hits the target that you want.
Yeah, exactly. True. All right, let's go to the launchers just beyond this hill.
So is there meant to be a way to attach the explosives to vehicles as well, not just place them under them?
Yeah, it should work, but it might glitch out sometimes.
For me it worked.
Yeah, if you are too close, it will not work. If you are too far away, it will not work. You need to be somewhere specifically in between.
Okay. Of course, no launcher crate immediately.
You despawned the cars, right? The vehicles.
What do you mean?
There are no vehicles anymore.
Yeah, I played a few more.
Ah no, okay, I just didn't saw them, I just need to zoom in. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Titan, in-law.
Hold second. The other box is AA launcher. Alright, everyone take a Titan launcher from the box. a few things about launchers. Wait, is that, I think you have an AA launcher, McMahon. Make sure it's a Titan compact. So what you got one as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Compact are the square ones. The other ones, the six-sided ones, are AA launchers. Okay, if you equip it and press the right mouse button, you look through the optics. The missiles are homing. So what you have to do is you have to switch to thermal mode. Press N once, the N key. Then you have you see the black-white thermal mode. Find the tank that you want to shoot at and hold the tab key. When you hold the tab key, you will hear a beeping sound, and you will see the frame getting smaller. Once the beeping sound changes into a constant sound, you have a lock. In that case, you can press fire and launch. Before you do that, though, be advised that any launcher in ACE has a realistically modeled backblast. That means if you stand behind someone that shoots with a launcher, you will kill them. First thing that you will ever have to do is make sure to announce clear backblast, something like that. And then before you take the shot, take a quick peek behind you and make sure that that no one is behind you. Only then you can fire. For some launchers, I think the Titan is one of them. They are soft launch. They don't have much backblast. But for example, the RPG-7 or the other RPGs, they have an insane backblast. So make sure that you're not at least, let's say, 50 meters behind you, 50 meters behind you, and in a cone of about 30 degrees, you will have the lethal part of the backblast. So make sure that's clear. Loud and clear.
Where can I find you guys?
At the launches. Everyone, can you teleport him?
It's okay, I'll get there.
I have one question about equipping the launchers. When I got the wrong one, I want to reload something. I couldn't really pick up the missile after I dropped the one, or was it just that it's incompatible?
The missiles are incompatible, yeah. The Titan, that doesn't say compact, is an AA launcher, so it uses a Titan AA. The others use Titan AT, that's the anti-tank, or Titan AP, that's fragmentation, anti-personnel stuff.
Are we free to fire?
Yeah, if you have no one in your backblast, then yes.
Are there any planes to fire at?
Did you go through different missile firing profiles?
No, not yet.
Guys, you can set the Titan missile to launch in 2 profiles. Or you can hear anything. Okay, you can set the missile for 2 flight profiles. The one is top-down attack. It's the one all of you fire right now. But if you want the missile to go straight and hit the target from the side, you need to change it. The way you do it is hitting Control Tab. You hear some sound effect, and you'll see the flight profile changes.
Only works with guided AT though. It doesn't work with the IP.
Oh, is it? Okay.
In that case, we have to watch out that nobody's in front of it. Nobody else. Or nothing at all.
Yeah, well, if someone is in front of the muzzle, you usually don't shoot anyway.
Yeah, but okay, let's not say somebody or something. It could be a tree in front of it, and it hits the tree.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, top attack is the most useful. But sometimes, if there's some kind of obstruction, or you're firing on a target which is inside a hangar, top-down attack won't work. So you want to hit you want the missile to fly straight. And yes, I see it doesn't work with AP. Weird.
Can I fire at a target that is moving?
Yes.
Also, let's say an airplane?
Yeah, but not with a Titan compact. You need to Titan, the other Titan. But in essence, they work the same, just with a flying target.
Locking doesn't work for me anymore.
What?
Locking the target doesn't work anymore for me.
And they're probably all destroyed. Wait, I'm going to place a new one.
No, I tried on the planes behind us.
Is it possible that the locking's only possible for the AT missiles? Because for the AP it didn't work for me also.
Yeah, the AP doesn't lock. It's only the AT. You can shoot the AP directly and guide it. You can simply, it's wire guided, it will follow the point where you're aiming at.
Well, I see now. Yeah, it's AP actually, yeah.
So if I use an AP and shoot it on a tank, does it the same damage as it if I do AT?
No, it
probably don't do much.
Say again?
Won't do much, no. AT are used for armored targets. AP you can use for anything that is not armored, like you can shoot it into a group of people, or you can shoot it at soft targets like careful shooting in that direction, that's where people spawn.
Roger.
Did you go through that? You can't fire on visual mode, you have to switch to thermal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, look how many people. Did you, what did you cover?
Basically everything, grenades, repairing and refueling, the launch of explosives, and basic medical.
Copy.
And MacMan records the whole thing, so if someone else wants to see it, they can look at it.
Awesome, thanks. Michael.
Yeah, they can see how I kill everybody with a grenade.
Yeah, let's say the grenades really wasn't that easy.
It's good for tutorial purposes.
Yep. It's an N-law, Misha, you need a specific protector for that.
Yeah, I know. I'm searching for it. I'm just randomly looking what's in.
I think there's nothing in here. Wait, let me spawn something.
So it's done, so I can stop the recording now?
Yeah, well, I think that basically covers all that we wanted to cover.
Alright.
Wait, do you want to continue with the new guys that just joined?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's like 6 guys in the lobby. I'm not sure they realize they can join in progress, maybe.
I'll message them.
Well, thanks anyway. Nice training.
Yeah, good work, Vernon.